everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this card using the Timber Scrapbooking Stamp and Thin Cut set. This is the set, and I'm going to use the lumberjack image and some of the plaid building stamps. And then I'm going to use some timber paper along with the stickers. So I'm starting out with a piece of vanilla. I'm going to make a Slimline card. These are pretty popular online these days, so I thought I'd give one a try. And this image is tall and skinny, so I think it'll work for this card. So I'm using a piece of vanilla cardstock, and I'm stamping the first plaid image in fern ink. And I'm just gonna kind of create a plaid out of this stamp, and then the other stamp I'm going to stamp in sapphire. And I'm not being too careful. There's a lot of leeway you have with this stamp set because of what I'm going to be doing with it, and you'll see that in a minute. So it doesn't have to be perfectly stamped. I've got a piece of scratch paper behind my cardstock to catch any overlap. And then I'm taking the sapphire ink with the skinny plaid image and stamping over it to create my plaid pattern. So we'll get that all stamped out. Okay. So I'm going to clean off my stamps, and then I'll move everything. And I'm going to stamp my lumberjack image, and I've loaded that stamp into my MISTI just because it's a really large stamp and it's just easier to stamp using the MISTI. And I'm going to ink him up in black ink and stamp him on vanilla cardstock. And then I'm going to take that piece that I just stamped, and I'm kind of figuring out the placement of where that should go. And I'm looking through my stamp to see where it's going to stamp. And I want to stamp the area that's going to be his shirt. So I'm just kind of moving it around to see which portion of the plaid pattern that I like the best. And then I'm just going to ink up that area of the stamp where his shirt is. And then I'll stamp that down. Okay, now I'm going to get everything cleaned up and moved out of the way. And I'm going to bring my big shot in, and I'm going to cut out the lumberjack image. And this one, it helps a lot if you have washi tape or purple tape. It's a very large thin cut, so you don't want it moving around once you start running it through. Okay, so now I've sped up the film like super fast. I hope you don't get dizzy. But I'm going to fussy cut this piece that I stamped just his shirt on, and I'm just cutting along the lines where the shirt is. So I've got it sped up really fast so you can see, and I have to cut around where his beard is. Okay, so now I have that piece trimmed out, and then off camera I've colored in the rest of him using the tri-blend markers, and it's just a really simple coloring job. I didn't do very much shading at all. And then I'm going to glue down his shirt to this to the base using some aqua tombow, just a really thin bead. So now he's all finished. Okay, so now let's make a card with him. So I have some really old colonial white slimline cards that have envelopes. So I'm going to cut this. I don't know what a standard slimline card measurement usually is, but I'm cutting this at 7 3/4 by 7, and then I'm going to score it at 3 1/2. so that the overall dimensions are 3.5 by 7 3/4. And that will fit into the envelopes that I have that are super old. You can also use like a standard business size envelope and it'll fit these cards. Okay, so now I've got some timber paper and I'm just kind of trying out what I like, and he pops a lot more on that green tree paper, so that's going to be my base for my image. But I want to use some of this other paper as sort of an accent, and I'm kind of figuring out what size to use. So ultimately I decided that I wanted a 3/4 of an inch to be on that edge, just as kind of an accent piece on my card. And then the green paper I'm going to cut at 2 3/4 by 7 3/4, and that'll fill in the rest of that 3.5 inch width on the front of the card. This one's going to be a really simple design because I want the focus to be on the lumberjack. Okay, so that's the overall look of the card. And now I'm going to bring in my sticker sheet. So this is where I'm getting my sentiments from. So I had already decided that I wanted to use Hello Handsome. So now I'm going to glue everything to the front of my card. And it's just direct and flat for the card base. Okay. So I'm going to use the Hello Handsome sticker. And then I noticed the So Plaid You're Mine sentiment as well. So I decided that I was going to use both of those stickers. I was thinking about using an arrow as well, but it wasn't going to work. So that fit. And then I decided to pop my lumberjack with foam tape. Okay, so that's all ready to go, and I'll just add that to the front of the card. And then, of course, I need a little something else. So I've got these acrylic black dots, or black and white dots. So I'm just going to scatter some of the black dots around on the card front. And that's my card. So all these supplies are still available until the end of August in my online store. The URL is in the upper right corner. And I'll make a list of everything with links in the description below. I appreciate you watching my video today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. And thanks for watching.